Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is VLADA, and in this channel I'm documenting my journey on reflection about different things in life that happened to me. And by the way, I hope that you find these videos very useful and you will get the chance to reflect on them. However, now I present to you a new category that will be called Hot on the Trail with VLADA. In other words, the point is that different things will happen to me throughout my lifetime. Well, they already have happened and they will keep happening to me. And I think that it will be quite interesting to share my own thoughts on different situations. For example, something happens, I struggle, I reflect, then try to realize what life was trying to teach me, and then I simply share it with you so that maybe you also have the chance to reflect on something new and, for example, get a new perspective on some things, because for me personally this is one of the most interesting things, that you can get a new perspective on a situation where you think that everything is quite black and white. However, then you realize that there are 50 shades of gray, so to say, and life is more complex than you used to think, and you suffer even more, because now it's not just black and white, now it's 1000 shades of gray, and you need to choose what to do next. So speaking of today's episode, it is called Conflicts and Regrets. Recently, just yesterday, I found myself in the situation where I thought that I was behaving quite good. However, I was not. The thing is that I think most of us find ourselves in such a situation where you believe you are, first, totally objective, second, you are not driven by your emotions, 3, you are able to estimate the consequences of your actions, you can understand how it influences the other person, your opponent, and you believe that, yep, I'm going exactly according to my own inner rules, and there is nothing going wrong. However, later you realize that actually you were totally blinded by these emotions, and maybe also out of fear of something. I'm not sure yet what fear exactly was driving me to do such incorrect things. However, I need some more time to reflect on this, because it takes some energy which you need to save and return to yourself. The problem is that in reality, in such situations, we are not only totally blinded, but it also leads to the fact that all you say within such situations is total nonsense. And I don't know about you, but I personally, in 20 minutes, already realized that it's totally incorrectly, and I felt 100% guilty, ashamed, and it was just a very unpleasant feeling, so to say, if we speak in the most formal terms, I think. After a while, maybe for someone it takes 5 minutes, for me it takes at least half an hour, and usually some more hours, because sometimes I think that I have a brain that works, but in such situations I realize that my brain does not work at all. Probably it's my heart, my mind, I don't know, whatever, but it takes a lot of time for me to reflect on these things. And after a while you realize that, yep, you have created some trash, and now it has to be fixed somehow. And usually you have no idea how to do that, because you find yourself the situation of total heartbreak, so to say, for some reasons. First, you realize that the life, or you can call it whatever you want, I prefer to actually call it the infrastructure, or just the essence that makes everything work and function, simply. The idea is that life is usually guiding us and trying to show to let us be in such situations where you are able to grow and to improve yourself. And the circumstances can be very different. Sometimes you cannot even imagine that such circumstances can can exist. However, when you are interacting with other people, this is the situation not only about you but also about the other person. So if a conflict appears, then it means that the infrastructure is telling you like, hey, please pay attention, have a look at this, there is something wrong with you because you are imperfect, you're not perfect, you're not a perfect creature, so you need to grow, develop, all of that. And it's like in a game, you know, that there is a quest, you need to go and fight the final boss, for example. Here is quite the same. You need to pay enough attention to see what's wrong with you, because after a while you actually do realize that some character traits are just really, really terrible. And from my own perspective, I realized that certain illusions about my own character traits tend to dissolve, so to say, and these are two main key points of this video. I think first, these illusions, with time they tend to dissolve, and you at first you realize that you have a certain illusion about yourself. And I don't know about you, but for me personally, I tend to think better of myself. However, I actually know why it's happening, because I tend to spend a lot of time alone, and during this time you don't get to interact with other people. So you're like in a shell that you don't find yourself in the situations where something might go wrong, apart from the situation where you're ordering something and the delivery boy cannot deliver it, something like that, but it's not, I think, the appropriate situation to mention. So when you're interacting with other people, you get to see new parts of yourself, and as just Carl Jung said, for example, that people are our mirrors. I'm a firm believer in this thought, in this idea. So we are able to see our own imperfections if we let the attention go into this event, so to say. Because again, I very often tend to let my attention be dissolved between social media, because I'm trying to run away from my own thoughts that are bothering my mind, because maybe I'm afraid of handling them, of tackling them, or just because it is also energy consuming, and my mind tends to trick me thinking like, hey, check this Instagram post or these Instagram stories, they are very interesting and they are more important than your own development. However, it is not true and will never be true, because there is nothing more important in this life than your own development. So I think the main lesson from this first point is that you have certain character traits you tend to think that either do not exist in you, or that they do not influence your life the way you think, like they are not that important, they are not that bad, actually I'm a better person, etc. And two, your attention is very important. You should focus this on yourself and on your own development and try to become a better person, though it is just very, very difficult. I think that this is almost impossible to do. However, of course, if you have the energy, you have the time, you can look inside yourself and find what's wrong and try to improve it, though it will be very time and energy consuming once again. And now the second point, within this heartbreaking situation of conflicts and regrets, it's that your opponent is suffering because of you as well, because of your actions, because of your words, because in the heat of the moment you think that, oh, it's not that bad, I'm going totally according to my own moral rules, I'm not affected by emotions, my mind is not tricking me, I can see the full picture, I see all the circumstances, and I'm very, very objective. However, again, let's be honest, I think that mostly it's not like this, at least for me. I think, and then after a while I realized that I was totally incorrect. And it really breaks my heart realizing that the other person is suffering as well because of me. And actually there is not too much you can do about it again, because because first the other person is learning from from this situation, because again the infrastructure is creating such circumstances where both are able to develop and improve themselves if they pay attention. And the other thing is that you cannot just avoid such situations, because everything is about improvement, and the infrastructure does not make any mistakes. Nothing happens just by coincidence, like I was not going to do this, but I did it, like in the words of infrastructure. So maybe the good thing we can see about such conflicts and not pleasant situations is that we should be able to see how we should improve from this experience, and what can we do to avoid such situations in the future. I think that this is it. See you in the next video. I hope that we all will be able to become better persons, the better versions of ourselves, as all of those motivational speakers say, but actually it's true, because living with these character traits is just terrible. I don't want to live like this, to create some pain not only for myself but for the other person as well. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible. Okay, so bye bye.